when they are consuming your minds and your thoughts and your dreams, from the angels to the demons and to the mysteries unseen, there is no need.
Good afternoon, everyone, or good morning, depending on where you guys are. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is Negotiating Happiness with Adriana. I am your host, and we will be delving into a whole bunch of good stuff for your business. Just bear with me here. We've got to do a good old intro. It's just me today, so I'm a little bit all over the place, but I think we can deal with it. So we are broadcasting live on the United Public Radio Network and UFO Paranormal Radio Network at 105.3 and 107.7 FM in New Orleans. And some of our shows are also streaming on Roku TV. Plus, all of our shows are on all popular platforms. So you can catch us on Facebook and YouTube and SoundCloud. Actually, I just want to give out a huge thank you to all the SoundCloud listeners. Negotiating Happiness is getting a lot of love on SoundCloud, so I'm hoping to keep that up. Thank you so much. So today it's just me, and we're going to be delving into what I call my virtual toolbox. So if you have, some interest in tech these days, or you're running a business, or you're trying to run a business, or maybe you're trying to run your radio show or your podcast and you would like some tips, this would be the episode for you. We will look into some of the recent changes in social media algorithms as well, and how they can impact your business or marketing. Or maybe you just have questions about why, you're getting all kinds of random content all of a sudden. I will mainly be focusing on Instagram and Facebook, because those are probably one of the more popular ones for me, for my clients that I've noticed, or some of my entrepreneur friends. And then we'll move on to some of the tools that I use in my own business. So if you wanted to see a little sneak peek of how I do it, we talk about my CRM, we talk about my project management tool. And if you know me, you've probably heard me talk about them again. But what I will do this time is I will give you a link to the presentation that I have to my virtual toolbox. And it's kind of like bare bones, visually appealing. So if you were looking to kind of get some inspiration on how to do yours, let's say you're presenting to a networking group, or you're wanting to pitch something to someone, you are more than welcome to use it. I just have it in PDF format, and I'll make it available. You can go on the website and sign up. Just put your email in and you can download it. Or if you're genuinely interested in using some of the tools and you didn't catch them, or you just wanted to have another look, that would be it for you there. You'll have it. I'll try and post the link in the comments as well. And speaking of comments, good morning, Neil. I can see you're in super early. If you have any questions or if you have any comments, please feel free to come on in and we'll chat live. The other topics that we're going to talk about are some of other AI-powered tools. And the reason why I do this, I know everybody's talking about AI, but whether you like it or not, it's here, and it is generating some really impressive results. And I would hate to think that people are falling behind just out of fear for what it can and can't do. So I just kind of want to bring it into the conversation, and I want to, regardless of what you think about it, it's here, so you might as well use it for your own benefit. And then we'll talk a little bit about kind of what's been going on with me. This is when I don't have guests, it's kind of my time to connect with the audience and just to kind of say, hey, here's me. I should have done this before, but I was thinking I should have a bunch of random balloons behind me so that everyone's like, why are you doing this? You are insane. But I just wanted to say that tomorrow is my son's 3rd birthday. Or not tomorrow, oh my gosh, the 17th, so on Wednesday. Clearly mom brain over here. But it's just kind of surreal every year that it's happening. And since I'm still a new mom, it's kind of like, oh my God, I made this child 3 years ago. So it's always like a reason to celebrate. And he's just learning at a ridiculously fast rate, and he's growing just like everybody else, and I'm in awe all the time of him. And I'm also get super frustrated as well because he is a toddler. So, I'm going to keep it real with you. He's a toddler and he drives me nuts. And sometimes we have really hard mornings, just like every other parent, I'm sure. But that is literally part of my day-to-day routine before I even sit down to like work and talk to clients and whatever. So, I'll keep it real with you. But yeah, that's what I'm celebrating this week. And thank you so much, Laura Lee. Happy birthday to my little guy. Yeah, my little guy would say thank you, and he'll be like, "It's my birthday," because now he talks and says all kinds of things. So he's super cute. Thank you so much. So let's dive in. So we've got probably about 50 minutes here. Again, please feel free to jump in the chat and ask me questions. I have to say that when I was reading about these algorithms, I'm not like an engineer or whatnot when it comes to these things, but I like to think that I can understand some of the tech behind, because we use it. We use it every day. We use it purposely with meaning and with we try to use all of the tools available to us. You have to think about it. Maybe 20 years ago, you were not using social media as a marketing tool. I remember in 2007 when everybody was getting Facebook, and it was like the new thing. And MySpace was before that. Maybe I wasn't at the right age, but I don't really remember businesses using it like the great tool that it could have been, like MySpace or Facebook. But now you are, and you get like Instagram ads and Facebook ads. But I want to talk about the algorithm for the people that are not paying for the ads. I know you can get a bunch of really qualified people that can help you with running Instagram ads and Facebook ads. And sometimes they work and sometimes they don't, because there are just so many factors that kind of come along. And I think that sometimes people don't really look at where their clients are coming from. Maybe your target market isn't spending time on Instagram. Maybe they're spending time on LinkedIn, right? Like you kind of have to go backwards from there. So just throwing money at something, it doesn't mean that it's going to work. So let's dive into the Instagram algorithm. You keep seeing the Mosseri, the owner, CEO, I'm not really sure of the particular title here. He comes on all the time and talks about all these changes. And I feel like we're on a roller coaster of changes. I remember when hashtags were, driving the algorithm, and now hashtags are just kind of a small part of it. But I was speaking to my social media manager. Shout out to Taylor. I'm not sure if she's listening or not, but shout out to her. And she posts what her analytics look like in terms of engagement that comes strictly from hashtags. And they are still alive. We can confirm that if you do have the right hashtags, you can, stir up engagement and exposure from hashtags. So just in case anybody was wondering, they are alive. So I guess Instagram is kind of like an equalizer, is what they describe it. I was reading on Hootsuite. It's also a popular platform for scheduling social media for multiple platforms at the same time, and they call it an equalizer because, and they give a really good example. So Selena Gomez, the singer, is probably the most followed person on Instagram. It will try to give the same opportunities to Selena that they are versus a small creator like myself. I have like 500 followers, right? And it is so it does try to kind of even out the playing field, but it kind of works off of different parts of the algorithm. So I didn't realize this before, but there are different. I feel like the feed algorithm is separate from the stories algorithm, is separate from the reels algorithm, and from your explore page. I didn't really dive into the explore page yet, but I feel like you kind of have to create content that, you have to pretend you are the person that you want to reach first, and then create it with that in mind. And I remember there was a time where everyone was panicking because Instagram wasn't really showing photos to anybody. It was just focusing on video. And like, I was one of those people. I was like, I don't want to be on video. And you kind of like push yourself and you make it, you give it a go, you get past your fears, and then they come out with, we're going to start pushing photos again. And I'm like, yay. Right. So it's kind of always changing. So it's up to you to kind of keep up with it. But as of April of 2023, this is kind of the information that I was able to get. Got a comment here. Laura, I have shared this everywhere. Thank you for such valuable information, Adriana. No problem. Thank you so much. You guys are such great supporters. And Neil's back in the chat there. Hello, Neil. Where was I here? Oh yeah. So the stories algorithm, it's similar to the feed one in that it uses ranking signals to decide which content to show first. So that's why you'll likely see the people that you follow, right? Your best friends first. So, when you look up at the app, you've got the first ones and you can keep scrolling. You'll always see the people that you watch the stories the most, right? So that's done purposely with intent so that you're up to date with their stories. So it does matter. And the way that the algorithm uses it, it's like where the story was posted, if you're using stickers or using music, are using interaction like the polls or the questions, they're all important to the algorithm on the story. And the other part is the information about the person who posted it. They know how often you interact with certain user stories, including replies, shares, all kinds of engagement. And these metrics are used to determine how likely you are to care about that person's content. So it's geared about, do you want to see it? It's the main question there. It decides that your activity across the platform, if you've interacted with a certain user's post, you're more likely to see their story pop up and vice versa. So, maybe I go on to Laura Lee's page and I'm scrolling through and I'm liking her posts. And it won't be a surprise to me that tomorrow I'm going to start seeing her story at the top there, close to like my friend's stories, right? That's the kind of idea that they're doing there. Now, the Reels algorithm, and I remember people were putting a lot of weight on the Reels on Instagram, and they pull from both the accounts that you follow and the accounts that you don't follow because they're trying to entertain you. They're trying to show you new content with that part of the algorithm. So it does look at your activity, like signals to what you've liked, what you've commented, what you've engaged with, and your history of interacting with the person who posted. So it does matter. If you follow certain influencers and whatnot, the reel algorithm will keep showing you those same reels. And it's it is hard, but it's good to know that the people that don't follow me are also able to see my reels that I am posting. It just seems like it wants to know if it's a certain type of content, and if that content matches, that's great. But I don't think that's an indication that you should start copying what these popular influencers are doing in the hopes that you're going to get a follower out of it. I would not advise that at all. But for example, I don't know, maybe somebody's into, woodworking. I don't expect my reels that are about motivation and business and, is small business events to show up with somebody that's doing a DIY on woodworking. I mean, it's really cool to watch, but I don't expect that from the Reel algorithm. And it does also pull from the information from the Reel. It tries to guess what the video is about. So that's where a lot of AI comes into place. And they do that by looking at the caption, the audio track, and analysis of the pixels and frames. And it considers the video's overall popularity. So it does matter, when you use high quality video. I try to think back in our MySpace days when we would put these like cryptic captions. Don't do that, obviously, because it will not understand what your reel is about, and it's not going to work. Does anybody else remember all the all the wild captions that we used to have. And I don't know, I just remember like tormented teenager is what description to mind comes. Everybody had a MySpace profile. If you are denying it, you're lying, I'm sure. um, I guess then there's another part to the real algorithm. It's the information about the person who posted is taken into account. So is the original poster someone with an engaged audience or whose content receives consistent likes and shares? And they will take that into the whole calculation. And there is a video if you are interested in learning how this works and not be so confused by so many words. I did save the link. It's from Hootsuite. I'm just going to post it in the chats. This is the video that explains the Instagram algorithm. I'm just posting it right now. If you want to watch it later, it's a little bit more visual than what I can explain right now. I can't post anything on the screen just now, but I encourage you guys to look at it if you're interested. And the feed, I guess the feed is the other thing that stood out from the feed algorithm is it looks at if it's been tagged with the location. I tend to not do that because I serve in my business people virtually, like all over the place. So I don't really tag it with the location. Maybe I should start doing that. I don't know if it's going to target more local people for me. And it also looks at how long, if you're posting a video, how long is it? And it'll determine the relevance and popularity. And that's how it will most likely show up on somebody else's explore page, a potential follower. So I think the whole idea is that they want you to use as many of the tools as possible on Instagram to get more information. It is incredible how much information these platforms gather, and that is the price that we pay for having access for free to these incredible tools. And it's just a great. It's an understanding of, like nothing in life is free, but that's how they do it. You give them all of this information. You tell them a lot about the, your business, your reels, like what you're doing. And in return, they will try and match you up with the people that matter to you. But I don't want to put too much emphasis on followers because that's not what this is about. It's about producing quality content and just letting the algorithm do its thing. But I have learned kind of a little bit of new information, kind of diving into this. Try and tag people, try and tag your location. Try and stick with short videos. People have a really short attention span, but really high quality, and maybe have a message to it. Don't just post random things, and do not make your caption cryptic. Actually explain what's going on, because Instagram AI is basically learning from it and trying to categorize what your post is about. And we're gonna try and compare it to a little bit of it with the Facebook algorithm. So as of 2023, so this is pretty recent information for Facebook, the Facebook algorithm determines which content is more relevant to the particular user based on 3 main ranking signals. I feel like Facebook is a little bit easier to understand. It's who posted it, what is the type of content, and what are the interactions with the post. And you're more likely to see the content from sources you interact with, including friends and businesses. So, on Facebook, how you can like pages, that comes into the algorithm here. So who do you like, right? So I give this as an example. I've had Facebook for so long that I think I've liked pages or businesses of acquaintances that I don't even talk to anymore, and for businesses that I probably wouldn't even be able to use. And that affects the way that what I see on my feed, right? So it's really tricky because a lot of us have had Facebook for a really long time. So we may not be kind of hitting our target audience because they've liked things that they don't they can't even relate to anymore. I do not have the same interests that I had in 2007, right? So you kind of have um, to understand that even when you are doing everything right, it might just be that the person that's using the platform isn't using it correctly or to its full potential. Um, and with Facebook, if you do interact a lot with video, you'll end up seeing more video than posts. So again, you have to think about who is my target audience, are what ages, because if the younger they are, the more they will interact with video because that's what's trending, that's what's popular. Whereas for me, I mean, I don't know, I still like a really good graphic and a link to go to, and I'll spend the time. Whereas, the generation that grew up with TikTok and, oh my gosh, what was the one before TikTok? The 6-second thing. I totally forgot. The one that kind of is gone now. Anyway, you guys know what I'm talking about. That's where, we've got this like constant need to be entertained in a video. Oh yes, thank you. Vine, yes, the comments. Thank you. Laura Lee, thank you for that. Vine. I never had it, but I'm sure people might have had it, or people maybe a little bit younger than me. So if you do interact a lot with video, or if your ideal client interacts a lot with video, you might want to post a lot more video on there. And the algorithm for Facebook will prioritize posts with a lot of engagement, especially from for people that you particularly interact with a lot. So this is why it's important to answer all of your comments. And I've been noticing a lot of business owners that they're so smart, and I'm continuously learning. I love it when I interact with their content and they interact back with me, but with a question, because I want to answer it, right? Like you want to establish a relationship, so it makes me comment a second time on the post. It's so smart. It literally starts a conversation. They're getting more engagement, and you're getting to know them. So try and think about how you interact. I am guilty a lot of not having enough time to spend on the platform, so I end up going, thanks so much. Oh, you're so great. Like you're so sweet. Instead of saying you're so great, what exactly did you like about this? Or, try and make it into a conversation so you get more engagement on there. And specifically of the Facebook feed algorithm. So whenever you're scrolling, it's um, it's it's mainly, but not exclusively, it features relevant content from people, brands, and groups. So again, it's highly dependent on what you've decided to like, which could be very skewed these days of what your interests are. Um, it uses the inventory, so that's what they call inventory, is what you've liked. And plus, they do add relevant ads, and that's, I think, where Facebook ads can redeem itself, is for people like me who have liked pages and groups since 2007. I don't necessarily relate to anymore, but if you know how to target the ad specifically, those will end up reaching me despite all the inventory that I've accumulated over time. So it depends on what your business is trying to do with who's your target market. I've got another comment here. Oh, I think you're brilliant, and I'm glued to your content. I really think so helpful. Thank you. Thank you so much. You are so sweet. And I actually, a side note, I can't wait to be on Laura Lee's show in July. So everybody needs to tune in from 6 to 8 on Monday. I believe it's July 10th. And it's the Angel Rock. I can't wait. So I will give you guys more details when we get close to it, because I love the fact that this network allows small people like me to have a platform, and it's not dictated by some sort of agenda. So it's really a privilege to be able to talk about what I do in my business and to try and help out other entrepreneurs. So thank you. We're just getting back here to the feed algorithm. The the algorithm for Facebook tries to predict um, predict factors in the content that you'll like the most. So it's the same as kind of the AI from Instagram. It tries to learn what you like, and this one is also, I guess, they call it prediction. So maybe they're showing you content that they think you might like, that you don't. And I know that you guys have the option to say, see less of this. You have to click on your options. So if you don't like it, every time you do that, every time you click see less of this or hide this, the algorithm learns and it will show you less of, especially with ads. And you're actually just helping them kind of weed through, what's good and what's not. So it's like we're doing half the work for them. But at the same time, again, this is the price you pay for having access to so much information for free, right? And I didn't know this, but I guess there's a relevance piece to the Facebook algorithm where each piece of content gets a score. So with the highest scoring posts closer to the top of your feed, so the more like you scroll, the less important that they've decided that it might be to you. Um, I'm not really sure how that would work with days. Like if there's like 2 days that you don't go on your feed and you scroll, I'm not sure how they rank that. Maybe they rank it as time goes and they keep switching the posts. But obviously they want you to get to the information as soon as possible, right? So they'll have it at the top for you. The Reels algorithm on Facebook is quite new compared to the Instagram one, but we do know some best practices with it. And it's not like you haven't heard these before, but we're going to go over them. Um, I think it, in my opinion, which it could be 100% wrong, and no shade to anybody, I'm just making an observation. I use TikTok as well, but I think they're trying to mimic TikTok because TikTok does get a lot of engagement. And so they want to, whenever I list these factors, you're going to be like, yeah, I know this. It's be entertaining and engaging, or start a trend, or use the text, the filters, or the effects, and stick to the vertical video. Basically, the less work you have to make your viewer do, the better, because it means they will actually watch it. They will not scroll by when you ask them to do an extra thing for them to be able to, digest your content. Add music, experiment with different approaches, and use good lighting and camera work. And I feel like that's for everything. Posts, videos, graphics. Use high quality graphics, go in front of a window, use natural light. Your photos will look amazing. You do not need a giant camera or an expensive one. Your phone will do just fine. And obviously, avoid blurry, low resolution video or videos with watermarks on it from other apps. I am so guilty of this. So the algorithm knows. And obviously, it does not want to advertise other apps. So I 100% believe this. And from personal experience, and actually some of the producers here on the network will tell you that if they post their YouTube links from the lives that are coming up for these shows, so we're not only live on 107.7 and 105.3, where we stream across all these different platforms. And if we're posting on Facebook and we have the link from YouTube in the post, they will kind of shun and hide your post for a lot of people because they don't want to make you get off the app. They want to make you stay in. So a really smart way that Michelle here told me to do this, which I didn't even think about, is we posting the link in the comments, which is better because at least it's almost like you're inviting people to comment or reply to it, right? It's engagement rather than here, come off the app, which is crazy, but it's true. It's the same thing with having the TikTok watermarks on our videos, and I'm 100% guilty of it. Or I guess they don't like borders around the videos because they can't, I mean, I'm sure the different platforms have different sizing, for whatever, whether it's a story, a post, a reel, a replay, or whatever else. And they don't like horizontal video either, because a lot of people are just sitting there and doing this, right? Like capturing things. They don't They don't want this. They want this, right? So at the end of the day, you need to have meaningful and informative content in order for you to be seen on these platforms. And if you're just doing fluff content, it might work for a little while, but it will not get you um, your target audience, which means that you could have so many followers and not have any sales if you're using it in a business kind of way. You know, use the tools they give you, use the analytics. I say this a lot. um, you could be posting every day and you could not be seeing progress because you're not going back for feedback, right? Like these apps are so powerful, they will give you the feedback. So, I, for example, I mentioned my social media manager, Taylor, and she'll post on her stories feedback for her hashtags. And then I'll look at mine and they're very different. And then you start thinking, okay, well, what hashtags is she using? What is the reach of the hashtags? You're supposed to use a combination of, really popular ones with not so popular ones and mid ones. You're not supposed to just have the ones where there's 2 million posts on each because your post will get lost in there. Nobody's going to pick it out of there. So she definitely has a better reach with her hashtags than I do. So, but what I'm doing is I'm seeking feedback. I'm going back and clicking the analytics dashboard and trying to digest, what's going on, what am I doing. When I increased posting on my own socials, I was able to see a spike in all of the days that I was posting in engagements. And I love that it shows me that I'm not only reaching the people that are following me, how many new accounts I'm reaching, right? So again, use the tools that you have um, because they could be really, really good. I just find that people don't use them to the fullest extent. I'm just going to do quick comment here, Laura Lee. Yes. So for July 10th from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern time here on UFO Paranormal Radio Network on the Angel Rock, that is where we will be having a great chat on the show. And she says, I can't wait. We're going to have a lot of fun. I can't wait either. I can't wait to see, and get a glimpse of your audience as well, Laura Lee. And thank you so much for the invite. I'm looking forward to it. We've got another comment here from YouTube from Neil. Shorts are so disappointing when they are good because it's just a taste, a bit of a tease. And you're right. People are lazy, myself included. I don't want to go chasing rabbits sometimes. LOL. Yep, I'm right there with you, Neil. I actually have a client that does she posts these really amazing informational, like 10 to 15 minute long videos. But what she does is she uses the shorts to tease that into it. So, and then she always has the link below. So you're right, when it's good and she puts out all that, like quick bits of information, her audience will be able to click with it and then quickly go on the link and watch the whole thing. It's a really great tool. But again, I feel like we all need to learn better how to reuse the same content a few times. I think the rule was like, whenever you create content, try to use it 3 times. Whether that's, maybe you have this awesome workshop, hint, hint, working on it. And then we're gonna take bits and pieces and create a freebie out of it as well. But then we're also going to post it on Instagram and Facebook and stories. And I'm going to use a part of this on the show as well, right? Like we need to be able to recycle this content. And it's not that we're lazy, but I feel like every single platform that I just mentioned has a different engagement rate with a different audience. So while Neil is loving the shorts, I personally never go on them, right? Do I think that I would love them? Probably, but that's not what I do with my day. So this is just like a perfect example of how do you reach different audiences that might be your potential customers with the different tools. We have so many tools, it's overwhelming at all times. So it's not just laziness. It's not. It's the fact that we are bombarded with information at any given time. Even this podcast, it's an hour long. The amount of information that I go through just to even put them together is wild. I am, I'm exhausted after. I think I'm trying to give people a really good understanding of what I'm reading too. But at the end of the day, not everybody's going to understand it the same way. I wish we could do a lot more visual things, but if people are listening on SoundCloud, which it sounds like they are for my show, I can't show them what I'm talking about. They're just listening to me, right? Excuse me, took a little water break there. Well, we're just past the. Oh, we got one more comment. Excuse me. Laura Lee goes, I love the shorts when I'm in quick break and I don't have time for a full video. Exactly. That's great. I think I do that with Instagram Reels. It's dangerous for me to open the TikTok app because I just get lost in them. But I do the same thing, Lily, with the Reels on Instagram. And it's great when you don't have time for the full video. And if they're really good at doing it, the gist of it is perfect, and you kind of get the whole message. And if it's wanting, if it's leaving you in suspense and wanting more, then it's achieved its purpose. It's whatever it is, marketing, entertainment, whatever the purpose might be. Just have to do a quick intro ID here for anyone just tuning in. We're just past halfway here. You're listening to Negotiating Happiness, and I'm your host, Adriana, and we are live on the United Public Radio Network and UFO Paranormal Radio Network at 105.3 and 107.7 FM in New Orleans. And we are streaming across all popular platforms, so catch us on Facebook, on YouTube, on SoundCloud, on everywhere. And some of our shows on the network are actually on Roku TV as well. So check us out. Thank you for that. I was going to take you guys through kind of what I mentioned is my virtual toolbox. This is kind of a presentation that I've put together. You guys can go, I'll give you the link here. You guys can go to my resource page and you can download it. I can't post it on the screen, but this is the link right here. And you guys can put in your email address to sign up and it will let you download it. If you have any issues, just let me know, and I'll be able to troubleshoot anything after. But it's a simple 12-slide presentation that I use in my networking groups to be able to present kind of like what I do. So if you want to take it as, info in the or inspo or info on what platforms to use, then that'd be this would be it for you. This kind of ties in with the whole theme of business tools, right? These are the tools that I use on a regular basis. And I have here a quick explanation. So when I first do these presentations, I say, okay, so why do I call myself an online business manager? And I used to call myself a virtual assistant. We still have virtual assisting services available, but I try to explain the difference so that when I speak to business owners, they're not super confused, right? So I'm an online business manager, which means I'm the planner, right? I'm the project management manager. I work on the strategy with them. I oversee some of their staff, or I plan ahead for them if they're going on vacation, right? And the virtual assistant is the doer, right? They're the editor. They're the ones, following the strategy to put marketing in place and scheduling and whatnot. So it's the planner versus the doer. I do a little bit of and you could take that approach as well. What do you do in your industry? Like what do you want them to differentiate between? That would be really good kind of intro to your presentation. So the first thing that I talk about is ClickUp. And I'm sure a lot of you have heard of ClickUp, because sometimes things slip through the cracks, and ClickUp helps you avoid that. And you can work by yourself or with your team on step-by-step projects or even business development. And it's fully customizable. At first, the feedback that I get from clients too is that it's overwhelming. But once you start working with it and you start organizing it, it is amazing. You can have reoccurring tasks where you never have to worry about. All I do is pull it up. I put, my to do or agenda for the day, and I look it up and I was like, oh, I have to do this, this, and this. And then I also do an overlook of what's coming up next, and I change due dates because obviously priorities shift all the time. Got some comments here. Neil, shorts and reels are good for discovering new people, but I prefer full-length presentations. Yeah, for sure. If you have the time for it, 100%. And I like to do the same thing. Here's a good tip. When I don't have time and I still want really good presentations, I put the speed on 1.5 when I listen to videos or podcasts. And guess what? Your brain still retains all that. Your brain is like the OG CRM that we haven't discovered all the capabilities of, but that's definitely a tip that was given to me, and I totally appreciate it. And Jen, I moved to ClickUp based on your recommendation. I love it. Oh, I'm so glad, Jen. And I'm sure you guys can tell that I'm not pitching things that are going to break the bank. Whereas I think that there are some really good pieces of software out there, especially in the legal world because it's so specialized, where they're a little bit more expensive. But ClickUp, I still don't have the premium package. I still don't pay for it, and I am able to have other people that are in as kind of like a guest or a member that see specific lists that I allow them to see. So I work with it. There are different templates you can put in. If you want to see like a Gantt chart style, you can see that. I like to see my tasks in a list with the due dates. Or you can have, if you have stages, right? Like if you're kind of working in a flow, you can get them in, I believe it's called Kanban style, where you've got the little boxes and you can just keep moving them. Once you start working and organizing in there, I promise you it's worth it. At the beginning, it is overwhelming, but it is a really great way to keep everything going. And the next thing that I talk about usually is Dubsado, and that's the CRM that I use. And Laura Lee, we've had a conversation about this, about the, you really like the scheduler that I sent out. So Dubsado lets me make a million scheduling links, and they're all different. So I can have a link that I only give to clients for our monthly meetings. So then I can then say, I'm only having these monthly meetings on like Wednesdays and Fridays, right? Or in the case that we were speaking of, I had a link that was dedicated for the show, to be a guest on the show. So that link only allows you to book on Mondays between 12:45 and 2. So, and it's very helpful, and it's already included. And on top of that, it does so much more. It has workflows. So if you take your clients through the same repetitive process, you can set it up automatically. It just sends you reminders, and it works with canned emails, because why are you sitting there typing out the same email over and over and over, right? It doesn't really make sense. So Dubsado, really great CRM. I have an affiliate link where I think I get like $10, $15 or something like that, but you get, I believe, 20 to 30% off. So if anybody's interested, I can give you the code, no problem. So it does automations. It's kind of like a filing cabinet. It keeps everything very neat, like the forms, the invoices, the emails, the client list, the projects. And it also provides a client portal. So my clients, if we're working in that capacity, they can go to my website, click on the client portal, and log in and see all of the forms that they're, and their upcoming meetings with me or their invoices, all of that is also available to them, which is really great. It's really nicely done, and it can be branded, it can be fully customizable, you can take payments through it. It's great. I love it. Never going back. And if you download the presentation, you'll see I give samples or screenshots of what the workflows look like, and what these platforms look like. Another one that's really good that we're not going to get into, but I highly recommend, is if you're trying to connect app to app, Zapier. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. So you could basically do, you go to Dubsado and you update your project, so the CRM I just mentioned. And if you say it's continuing or it's active, Zapier will have a little code, and then it'll go and create a folder in your Google Drive. And then from your Google Drive, we'll create 3 other folders to help you get organized. And all of that is automated by putting it in. And then it'll also add templates if you wanted to. This is just one of the million ways. Like I've seen it, Zapier used to connect from website to a cart, like an e-commerce store, to a learning platform, to ClickUp, right? Like it's so complex. It does cost money to use it. I think you can have 1 Zap a month. I'm not sure. Is it 5? I'm not sure. They call them Zaps, like the codes to go through. So check it out if that's something that you might want. And I know I've used before, if you want to have an app for yourself to design it, you don't have to design it from scratch. There are platforms out there that will let you customize an app, and one of those might be Mighty Networks or Hivebright. And I know that Jen here in the chat has used Mighty Networks in the past, and it's pretty user friendly. I'm sure there's a subscription, a monthly subscription, but if that's something that you need, is definitely cheaper than having somebody develop your own app. Okay. And I gave you a quick sneak peek into my toolbox in this presentation, which shows things like Canva and Coursera and Xero and Slack and QuickBooks and WordPress. Like there's just so many things that you could use. Another really good one is Loom. I've had to show people how to do things, and instead of just having it written down, again, a lot of people are visual learners. I've recorded how they can do it from step 1 through 10, and you can pause in between, so they don't have to sit there and wait for your browser to load or for you to open a program. They just know it's bam, bam, bam. Loom is great, and I don't pay for it. It gives you enough that per month that it's worth it. So again, there's lots of platforms there that we can use. I just want to take the last couple of minutes and talk about AI because it's so big right now, and I think it's only going to get bigger. So if you'll see the end of the presentation, it just has the sort of services of like, okay, so like now that you've been exposed to these platforms, what do you do? Do you need help? Do you want to talk to me? Or do you want to talk to someone else, right? Or what do you think you might need out of this? And there's some contact information on there. But yeah, so go to the website. I pasted the links in the chat there. If you want to see kind of like a template for, hey, here's me. If you are somebody like me in the digital world that needs to, I don't know, have an introduction or a pitch, you're more than welcome to use that. So other AIs that I wanted to talk about are that I was super impressed with. One is called Durable. And it literally designs a website in 30 seconds. I didn't even have to sign up. I just went to their website. It asks you to type in a description, and it's working. You can see it working in the background as you're just waiting for it. In 30 seconds, you have a fully functional, I would call it more like a landing page. I didn't see that it had separate pages, but I'm sure you could do that. And it's also really popular on Canva just to have like the one page website kind of thing where you can have links to the separate sections. It wasn't bad. It really wasn't bad. It was very basic, and you can ask it to regenerate it. It picks different colors for you. I'm sure it's customizable once you sign in and actually sign up for it. But it is wild to me that it had, the big promise, kind of like intro at the top and a little bit of description. Then it also had a lead gen there with the submission form. Then it also had a contact form, and it was just so almost complete. So if you are one of those people that's running a business and a website is overwhelming for you, one, you could get somebody like me where I help you do it through a website builder so that you are also able to update it yourself after. That's me, option one. Option two, I would give it a try. 30-second website. And then you have something that your clients or your potential clients can refer to. I highly recommend. The other one is HeyGen, which is a video and avatar generator. And I was going to let you guys listen to it. You can't see it. So what I think I might actually do is I might just post it on my online channels and I'll point to it. I made a video in 15 minutes where this is this really good looking avatar talking over, it's like a Google search engine kind of background. And it talks about my upcoming workshop. It is great. And I think when you sign up, you get 1 minute per day. So you could have a couple per month, I think. So it just depends on how many videos you're looking to make. I hate being on video, and I'm not always looking my best, as you can see. This is the mom look. My hair's been in a bun for the last 3 days look, okay? So this was awesome. I will say there are some limitations. I think the intonation. So what you do is you just type out the script, and this avatar says it out loud. It's amazing. And then once you process it, you can actually see the avatar speaking it. Obviously, you can see that it's just slightly off, but it's so good that I think I'm going to use it. It does not creep me out whatsoever. And it's the intonation is a little bit off, but I think if you rejig some of the words, they might make sense. Like I think at one point she was sounding like she was always asking questions. So I had to put things like maybe or at the beginning of what I was saying to indicate that it was a list. It was a descriptive list. So there are tricks to kind of get what you want out of them. And the last thing that I wanted to talk about is this chat GPT business, and this is the script that I used to make that video. And I'm wondering whether you guys would like to hear it from her. Let's see if I can do this. Give me 1 second. Can you hear me? This is her talking. Sounds threatening, right? It's too bad. I'm hearing that there was some technical difficulties there. I will share the link to the video. I was trying to get you guys to listen to it. Basically, talking about she's reading out the script. My producer just let me know that it's very quiet, even though she was super loud on my computer here. I'll post the link for you guys to hear her. It's very there's no tone almost, and when she's you'll see her when she speaks. There's not a lot of face movement there. It's just a very much a relaxed, depending on what she's saying, she kind of sways a little bit. It's kind of cool though, because I did this in 15 minutes. So what I wanted to let you guys know is that it is a legit workshop that I am trying to put together. It's trying to target, the people that are, they're teetering on the brink of burnout versus success, or, you need an assistance and finances are tight, or you're worried about falling behind with technology and you're struggling to keep up. Like, what even is AI? I want to help people like that. Or you're a totally successful business owner that thrives in organized chaos, but you wonder if there are any other ways of doing it better and faster. Or maybe you've already used ChatGPT and are totally unimpressed because it's frustrating and you're thinking you're better off doing it yourself, or you just need a break, right? This is what this workshop is trying to solve. It's basically like getting an assistant for free. The reason why I say that is because I looked into it, and you can use it as, it can answer your business related questions. It can search for things super quick. It can run your CRM. It can create workflows. You can improve your website SEO via the platform that you use when you give it access. Like you can actually give it access. It can log into the back end, and do things for you. It can provide recommendations for what kinds of tools or softwares that you're presenting. And it can generate content drafts. And I say this cautiously. You could use it for websites, blogs, social media, marketing campaigns, headlines, descriptions, articles, ads. But I will say this, just like the video AI person doesn't have a lot of tone, the writing doesn't have a lot of tone either. It does not replace a good copywriter. So that's why I say drafts. I think anything that comes out of ChatGPT, you still need to go and tweak and make it sound like you, or else you're just regurgitating what probably other people are regurgitating. It can also provide language translation and just many more. And I was so blown away when I realized that I can give it access to, and it can organize like your Google Drive, or it can help set appointments if you're giving it access to a calendar, right? So, but it is frustrating because it tends to be forgetful and confused. So I want to teach people in this workshop on how to have a conversation with it. And there's a lot of people that are pushing prompts right now, like engineer prompts or engineer prompting, which is great that you can kind of, plug a whole paragraph in, but it will not give you the finished product. I want to teach people on how to have a conversation with it and remind it of things. For example, I let it go in to my SEO platform and it kept forgetting to give me updates. So I would ask it for updates. And then it kept saying that it doesn't have access to my SEO platform. And then I would remind it, yes, I gave you access with this email address and this password. And then they'd be like, oh, yeah. So it's kind of like having a newbie assistant where they can do certain things really well and certain things they're still learning. But at the end of the day, this language model is constantly learning, especially if you get ChatGPT Plus. And that's, I think, a $20 a month subscription. You can still use the regular ChatGPT, but if you're looking for really updated information, I think it goes only up till 2021. And when I looked at the differences, it says ChatGPT Plus is much faster, which is wild to me because I gave it a webinar of an hour and a half video to YouTube. And I said, please learn from this on how to interact with my SEO platform. In 2 seconds, it had reviewed it. And in the next 15 to 20 seconds, it had written out a summary of the talking points. It is wild. If you don't know how to use this, you need to learn how to use this. So I am running it. It's going to be about 3 to 4 sessions. I haven't decided yet, but it's going to be in June. And I'm going to put a link up on my website to sign up for it. We will have a founder's rate because it'll be the first time that I'm running it. And it'll include presentations, workshops. We get to try it. I am going to limit it so that we can interact all together as a class. I don't want a ton of people because I want people to get value out of this and to have their own questions. And it will, I think I will wait until the end of May, and then I will cut off registrations. So if you're thinking about going on, you can always find me on Instagram at assistant.ontario or on www.ontarioassistant.com. Thank you, everyone. We have come to the end of our show here. And I can't thank you enough for listening and for chatting and for tuning in. A big thank you to the United Public Radio Network and UFO Paranormal Radio Network. And next week, we have a guest that is I'm so excited about because it's not my usual service-based guest. She writes children's books, and I can't wait to show everybody her niche and her talent. So I can't wait to show you guys Jacinta. Thank you, everybody, for taking the time to go in. And I realized that I've missed 2 comments, and it says, yes, 1 point time speed is such an excellent time saver. Yes, totally. And yes, I'm kicking myself that I hadn't even thought of a program like this. Yeah, there's so many things that can make running a business, a show, a podcast so much easier. So feel free. You can always interact with me on my website on the contact form or info@ontarioassistant.com. Thank you, everybody, and have a wonderful, wonderful week.